It was a crisp, quiet, late summer night. Besides the sound of the ground crunching beneath her feet, it was virtually silent. Her subtle tears streaked her face, occasionally dripping off of her chin. As she walked, it felt as if time had stopped. The redhead wondered to herself if traveling any further was worth it. Amanita dragged her feet against the ground as she walked, sulking. Feeling fatigued, she could barely keep moving forward, let alone keep her eyes open. She regretted running away from home. Even though she was 18 and able to go as she pleased, she had no job, no car, and nowhere else to go. Dying out here is better than dying in that house, Amanita thought to herself. Leaning against trees for stability, she peered into the darkness engulfing the forest. She had a flashlight, but the batteries had died earlier on in the trip. She was cursing herself for being so stupidly unprepared for this. Her energy was depleting as she moved forward. Every grassy step felt like she was counting sheep, her mind going adrift. All she wanted was to be able to sleep in a nice, comfy, warm bed. She laid her head against a tree, basically hugging it to stay upright. Blinking her eyes softly, she briefly saw a figure deep in the woods. Amanita instantly opened her eyes, panicking about what she just saw. She looked around, squinting her eyes, but she couldn't see anything in the dark. Her heart raced. Was that just my imagination? She pondered. It wasn't. She could sense someone or something was there, watching her. Her breathing got faster. She felt like she was in fight or flight mode. She reached into her backpack to get her switchblade, holding it tightly in her fist. Trying to clear her mind, she scanned over the abundance of trees. She squinted her eyes when she saw two noctilucent orbs through the trees. Shocked and confused, she called out to the light. Assuming it was someone with a flashlight. Well, two flashlights. "Hello?" Amanita blurted out, trying to make herself sound loud so as to appear more threatening. "Is anybody out here?" She tried to steady her breathing, but anxiety had a chokehold on her. Then, she saw it. Him again. She froze like a deer in headlights. Her breath was taken away and her heart fell into her stomach. The man-creature moved towards her. She could see the outline of him. A man with a top hat for a head, with glowing white orbs for eyes, snappily dressed in a suit and tie. His teeth peeking out of the inky blackness of his top hat head, curving into a depraved-looking smile. Amanita accidentally looked him in the eyes, causing him to stare right back into her eyes. Her mind was racing. She couldn't run. She couldn't fight. She couldn't hide. All she could do was stay still, immobilized by her fear. Sensing her tension, the inky black creature cleared its throat, took a bow, and reached out for her hand. "Hello, darling." He motioned to kiss her hand with his non-existent lips. "You called for me?" Amanita wanted to pull her hand away, to run, to say something. All she could do is stare in absolute terror. "What is a beauteous young woman such as yourself doing out here by yourself?" the lanky creature questioned, bending over to meet his face to hers. "It's dangerous out here, you know." The heat of his breath lingered across her face. "Oh, don't be so afraid, I won't bite." He spoke again, straightening himself back up and dusting off his suit. "Or maybe I will." He chuckled to himself. It appeared like he was trying to break the ice. Her body stood still as she stared down at the ground. She didn't want to even look at it. She still couldn't get herself to say anything. Her lips parted, but no words came. "Not a talker, eh?" He fiddled with his arm cuff. Most people would have ran by now. He pulled a business card out of his cuff, handing it to her. She reluctantly took the business card, which had a grainy photo of a circus on it, with only one word on it. Ringleader. Amanita started to question his name, but he shoved his finger against her lips to shush her. He moved closer to her, whispering in her ear, "It's a secret." Amanita blushed, but not out of any romantic feelings. She felt embarrassed and still intimidated by the figure. Not to mention his breath on her face was just gross. She blinked. He was gone from her vision. She looked around paranoid. Was that all a pseudo-dream? She jumped when she heard thunder off in the distance. All of the sudden, it started pouring down, getting completely soaked from the rain. She watched as the ringleader came back with an umbrella. "Come with me," he said frantically. "What?" Amanita questioned. "Come with me, quickly, I'll get you out of the rain." He reached his hand out to her, with his menacing grin plastered all over his face. Hat.